wrote that. So, in 2011, I'd just been promoted into a head of technology role at a very large bank. And I was talking to my manager, and he asked me, we were talking about diversity. And he asked me what I thought about diversity in technology. And my answer was that, I don't know, I've always been the only woman in the room, and you just kind of get on with it. But I've always been surrounded by some really strong female role models. And he said to me, have you ever stopped to think that maybe you're that role model for others now? And I hadn't at all. And I was kind of freaked out about it for a little while. Kind of thought that everyone was looking at me and I needed to wear nicer clothes, or I needed to be a bit more professional or do something. And I really didn't know what to do with it for quite some time. But in a couple of years later, 18 months later, I was at an event and I heard someone talking about a study tour, a Women in Technology study tour. And I really, really wanted to go on that event, but it was led by another bank, and I didn't bank with them, so didn't qualify. And so I was sitting there thinking, I could create a study tour, I could do this. And I said it to the people at the table that I was sitting with and said, I'm going to create a study tour, a Women in Technology study tour, and they're like, so I'd said it out loud then, so I really had to do it. And so I went back and I thought about it and I planned it and I called people that I knew, got a whole lot of people on board to support it. And so 6 months after coming up with that idea, I took 16 women to India on a Women in Technology study tour. We went for 3 weeks, which was far too long. We should have gone for shorter. We got a bit sick of each other at the end of 3 weeks. But we went for 3 weeks, and when we came back, within 6 months, every one of those 16 women, including me, had been promoted into their dream jobs. And the difference that it made, which I really didn't plan for, but the difference that it made was that on that study tour, we spent a whole lot of time thinking about what our purpose was, what really mattered, what was important, thinking about what we wanted for our careers, engaging with a whole lot of other people that were working in technology, and just really embracing and engaging as a group of women what it meant to work in technology and what we could dream about and achieve. And so that group of 16 women were all promoted into their dream jobs, and we came back and that was all great. And I thought about, okay, so what am I going to do next? That had a really big impact to 16 women. I wrote a blog when I was there, some people read it and hopefully got some inspiration from it, but really it was only impacting this small group of people. And so I worked out what to do next, which was to create this Women in Technology program at NAB. And through that program, we held events every quarter. We had events big events with 500 people. 500, NAB's a big place, so 500 people coming to these events every quarter. We had coaching circles. We had more study tours. We had all sorts of stuff going on. And through that, keeping that same thing in mind about really working with people about what their purpose was, what their passion was, what their brand was, what they cared about in their career, what was important to them, and then how to maintain their well-being at the same time, how to deal with stress, all of those kind of things. That same, not that all 2,000 people got promoted, but that same impact was happening on a much broader scale at NAB. When it came time for performance review time, there were so many women coming up to me going, I just got the best performance outcome from my manager, and they said that they'd really seen a difference in me this year, that I had this spark and was really engaged in what I was doing, and it came from spending time finding that community of people that cared about you and exploring those things together about what your purpose was, what your brand was, that you cared about your career. And so we did that at scale, and we had people coming, great performance outcomes. We had people, we went to Go for IT, which is where I met Nicole for the first time. Go for IT is a big program where there's thousands of schoolgirls from around Victoria come together and spend a day immersed in technology. And after that event, we had one woman at NAB send a message to our CIOs saying her daughter had been there at that event. And her daughter came home saying that she finally understood what her mum did for a living and she wanted to work in technology now. And that's just that one person. If you can change the mind of one person, then that's kind of success. I had people come to me saying that they'd they'd never, they'd kind of just fallen into technology or fallen into their job, and now they were all in, or they were working in project management and they wanted to get into coding and developing. All of those things were great. I also had women coming and saying they decided to get a divorce because they realised that wasn't working for them. And I was like, it wasn't quite what I was setting out to do, but great. I had one lady who came to me who was made redundant, like Cheryl was talking about before, and she decided that she was going to follow her passion, to become a burlesque dancer. Also, not really what I was aiming to do, but she became a burlesque dancer. She set up her own company. She then also created a support group for performing artists, because she's seen what a difference it made to have a support group when she was working in technology now. So these kind of things were about, just for me it was about how do I have courage, how do I have an impact, but then thinking about, I've got to this role, this senior role, how do I help others? What can I do? And you can't spend, if you mentored everybody, it would take all of your time. You don't have time for that. So how do you do it at scale? How do you find out how to do it? And so we did that through creating this Women in Technology program at NAB. And then I worked quite hard, because I decided to leave NAB. I worked quite hard to make sure that that was handed over and in good hands and could carry on. Now what I do, it's 18 months since I left NAB, but what I do now is I don't have that big stage, that big flashy stage to be able to stand on that stage at NAB with thousands of people watching. I've found a way to do it that is kind of scaling it even more. So with less of a stage but more of an impact. I harangued Nicole after that Go for IT event until they invited me to join the board for Robogals. And Robogals, and eventually they let me in, and now I'm the chair, so that worked. But eventually, but Robogals has connected with over 100,000 girls around the world with robotics workshops and talking to them about careers in STEM and careers in engineering. I work as an ambassador for Girl Geek Academy, and Girl Geek Academy has an aim to introduce technology to 1 million girls around the world by 2025. And they run coding workshops for girls as young as 5. They've started running energy workshops for kids to get them engaged in energy. I work at AGL, I may have had a little influence on that. And they've released books now. So books, if you think about the Babysitters Club goes to a hackathon, those books are available now for girls aged 7 to 12. And the next one that's released in October is a school holiday workshop where they go to learn about energy, which is really cool. You should learn about energy. And so I found a way now to have that impact at a much broader scale. Think about, I'm not talking to 1 million girls or 100,000 girls about engineering, about technology, but I'm helping other people who are doing that. And so that, to me, is where I've kind of landed, to be that support and be that help. When Nicole calls me for help now, then I answer her. When Cheryl says, I need a speaker or I need you to send some people to my event, then I'm there straight away, because those organisations are having these huge impacts. So for me, it was finding a way to be able to, my purpose became empowering and helping others. So for you, when you're looking for, if you're a leader, how do you empower others? Listen to people, find their passion, find their purpose, and help them realise it. If you're a person looking for the people that are going to empower you, and lots of people go looking for their mentors and their sponsors, and we get told that all the time, it's actually it's kind of a finer point than that. Find the people that see you, that, you're sitting in a meeting and someone says, are you okay after the meeting? Or did you get your point across in that meeting? Find the people that see you, find the people that listen to you, and lean into them, because they're the ones that are going to help you be empowered. Thank you.